What do you mean? Claire was confused by Emily's statement. She turned to Hannah to see if her friend understood Emily's words. But Hannah had the same confused expression. Turning to Chelsea, Claire saw Chelsea nodding her head. Emily pointed above them, towards the world above the underground city. Outside the fort, there are no more societal laws that are enforced. If you run into other humans, you need to be careful about those who disregard decency. Hearing Emily's words, Claire slowly comprehended what the soldier was saying. Even if she hadn't experienced the darker side of society, it was still something she was aware of. Living inside of a peaceful town and spending months in a fort, such things were forgotten. Inside the fort, you had soldiers like us to make sure that nothing harmful happened to you, Chelsea added. But as Emily said, there are no rules aside from survival outside the protective walls of the fort. It'll be even worse compared to before things went south, Heather voiced after finishing her argument with Celine. Like my ex. She rolled her eyes just from the thought of him. He was good at coming across as a decent guy. Until he got mad, Celine added. He hit you? Hannah opened her mouth wide in alarm. Heather snorted in surprise. Him? I'd like to see him try. Giggling, Celine shook her head. No. Sean knew that Heather could wipe the floor with him, especially if he were to take a swing at her. I was talking about the people he thought were weaker than him. Though I didn't see it until after breaking up with the loser. The guy was a bully. Heather sighed as though disappointed in her inability to see such a character defect. It's not your fault. You infantry people were never known for your analytical skills. Celine slyly grinned at her friend. Hearing Celine's words, Heather quietly glared at her, not intending to get into another fight. Looking back at Claire and Hannah, though it's not just guys you have to worry about. Like how I could beat down my ex. Women are equally capable of horrific actions. As Claire and Hannah sat there listening to the women explain the things they need to be concerned about, it was obvious that the world was more dangerous compared to before. The laws and regulations that helped to keep the more savage parts of humanity in check didn't exist. This meant that those with the inclination towards violence had free reign over those that didn't have the capability to protect themselves. Hearing what people were capable of, Claire gripped her fist in anger. Abby is right, she thought to herself. We need to prepare ourselves and train. Just being able to create equipment isn't a strategy for success. I think that's enough of such talk, Chelsea spoke out, getting up from her chair. Breathing slowly, Claire nodded in agreement. Hannah also appeared glad to no longer talk about how horrible the world could be. Since we've been talking about how important it is to get yourselves ready, how about you two join us inside the simulation? Chelsea offered as everyone slowly got up from their seats. Blinking at the woman, it wasn't something that Claire was expecting to be asked, and it took her off guard. What? Chelsea asked. Even if taking on more jobs will give you more exposure, it'll be more efficient to train with us, who have more experience as soldiers. It's a good idea. Heather nodded at Chelsea's words. Not taking much time to think about it, Hannah said, if we're not too much trouble, then we could use your help with fighting the monsters. She smiled at the soldiers, appreciative of their offer. Claire nodded. It'll definitely help to prevent us from developing bad habits that could form. Emily reached out and touched Claire on the arm. Don't sell the two of yourselves short. Compared to us, the two of you have more experience in the simulation. I get the feeling we could learn just as much.